Okay, you've been lucky enough to harvest a deer, you even got it skinned. But a lot of hunters are intimidated of how to then break this animal down properly, how to debone it, and how to turn it into something they're proud of to serve their family and friends. That's what we're going to cover today, basically quartering and deboning a whitetail deer. With all projects, your work's only as good as the tools you have. The key to deboning and quartering a whitetail deer properly is obviously a good set of knives. For the quartering part of the process, I'm actually going to use two different knives. I'm going to use a longer blade knife for some of my shoulder and my neck cuts. Then I'm going to transition the bulk of my work I'm going to do with a 6-inch boning or fillet knife. Works perfect for the job. All right, we've got this animal skinned. It's nice and neat, ready to be quartered. Most processors are going to actually start from the neck and work their way up. That's my preferred strategy as well. So I actually like to start on the front shoulders. And the key to getting the shoulders off, they're actually the easiest cut of all because they're only attached with muscle and cartilage. There's no bone and no joint. So the key to that is just simply pulling the leg out a little bit apart from the chest cavity there. I like a pretty long, heavy knife for this just because it makes it easy. And if you picture the shoulder blade, it makes a big round circle right up here higher than most hunters would think. So using the inside of the leg, pull that open, cut through that, cut straight into that cavity. You can see it just going straight along with the side of the animal's body. And I'm going to pull it around and come up high. And you'll actually see the shoulder blade start to open up here. This has got a little bloodshot hemorrhaging from the gunshot. Just simply come straight down the cavity of the body, comes straight off nice and easy. Next cut is the neck roast. And on this, you want to come all the way up a little higher than what you might think is the true neck. So I'm about 2 inches above what appears to be the end of the neck. I'm going to cut in, work myself into a joint if I can, the easiest way. Come all the way around with your cut because there's a lot of tissue here come through. So if you come in at that angle I talked about, you can actually get it to where you break it right through a joint and you don't even have to use a saw. It takes a little bit of knife work here. You actually can hear it kind of break and pop a little bit. There you go, nice neck roast. Okay, we've taken our shoulders off and our neck roast. Next step is to get to the tenderloins, the most cherished part of your deer. To do that, the easiest way is to simply cut these belly flaps away. Just come along the ribs. And some animals, they're going to be really fatty and really hard to do much with, but these are pretty lean, go great in your grind. Okay, our next step is to remove the tenderloins. Those run on the either side of the inside of the deer's backbone. Just very minimal cutting, generally up here at this sort of back end of the animal. Just kind of find where the tail of it is. And again, it runs on either side of the spine, so often I'll just get my knife and just kind of zip it down the edge of the spine just to help separate it just a little bit. Just to give me a kind of a hand grip down the inside of it. Then I'll take my knife and come around towards the top edge, knowing that it comes up here pretty high. And just kind of, basically just trying to get a handle, a little bit of a grip on it at the top. And once you do that, it comes out, like I said, just by my hand. See that? I'm just pulling. Very little, almost no knife work at all. All right, our next cut are the backstraps. Again, named simply because they run on either side of the deer's back, basically from its neck all the way to basically its rear quarter. And real easy to take out, just take a little bit of time and effort. First thing you want to do is using the line of where the back leg ends and basically the stomach portion begins, take your knife and cut it straight into the backbone. Stick your knife in and just basically run it right along the edge of the backbone. Just close to the backbone as you can, all the way down to where you took your neck roast off. So you should have a good clean cut in this case on the left side of the backbone. Now what I want to do is coming on this side, just to help myself. I could actually work my way just with that single cut, but I find it a little easier to go ahead and find my other cut line right at the top of the rib cage and come down. That just gives me a good starting and ending point. Now all I have to do is give me a handhold to kind of get me started, and it'll all come out after that nice and easy. Okay, we've got all of our major cuts on the animal, obviously except the hind legs. You still got a rib cage and a little bit of brisket meat, and obviously take the time. There's some good brisket meat along the bottom here. You can just use your knife, peel that off. Comes off pretty easily. Just take your time and work your way around and get all that good grind meat you can. Goes great in your burger and your sausage. Okay, we've now separated the rib cage, cut the rib cage off and drop that, so all we have is the two rear quarters. And a lot of people will take it off at this point and try to debone it or what have you, but I found it much easier to do it just like this. The key though is to use a hook that'll hold one of the back legs like I have secure so that you can work around it. What we're going to do is the first leg is this one closest to us. We're going to remove the leg off of the pelvic girdle. In other words, leaving the pelvic girdle in place. Our second cut will be removing the pelvic girdle from the leg hanging so that leg stays hanging. So what we're going to do here is starting right here in the middle of the two where the two legs meet. Obviously we're trying to cut this left leg off, so we're going to start on the left side. But what we're looking for is the ball and socket joint, because that will allow us to separate that leg from the pelvic girdle. And we'll see that pop up here in just a minute. So as you come down in the animal, put a little pressure. Just keep working along, and you've got a little hump, a little process right here at the very back you got to work around. You'll feel it's a little knob. You kind of go out and around the corner on it, and all of a sudden your leg starts to come down on you. So I'm already feeling the leg start to come loose, and I see my socket right here. You can see the ball joint. Socket stays on the girdle, and you just come straight down through there. Again, putting some pressure, come around the back of it. And the beauty is gravity does the work for you. So just keep coming along, using your knife, and the weight, the sheer weight of the back leg will almost debone it for you and leave very little meat on the pelvic girdle. So you have nothing else to do at the end. See even the white back of the bone here, nice and easy, and off comes the back leg, just like so. Okay, the next step is to remove the pelvic girdle from this leg. In other words, the reverse of the process we just did. But the same approach applies. I like to put my hands right in the back end of the pelvic girdle. I get a firm grip and I start cutting. And again, there's a little bit of a hump right here on the back. You'll feel it. It's right here on the either side of the back rump. You've got to come out around this little process, and then you can kind of, once you get around it, you can dive back in, and that will save you. So what I'm trying to do again is get to that ball and socket joint, and by putting pressure, downward pressure on it here, I can work my way straight into it. Using my hands and my knife to guide me, guiding that meat right off the bone, nice and easy.